the millions across the globe watching on ONG TV. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
We are back, episode 6, as so they tell me. Hopefully everybody's counting right. Of course, in the co-pilot seat, Dustin Wood, the OG, is back in the house. OG, good to see you again,
What's up, brother?
I think this is the same shirt I wore on episode 5.
Who's counting?
What we could tell him is that we just did back-to-back shows.
That's true.
And you had a wardrobe change here.
Working smarter, not harder.
You're the man. It's good to see you, OG.
Absolutely. Welcome to the D full time.
Well, thank you. I relocated my family, for all of our viewers that don't know, for the 7 weeks here from Las Vegas to Dearborn, Michigan. We're loving it.
Which is interesting. Las Vegas brought all this rain. I swear, the day he got here.
That's where it came.
That's when all the thunderstorms started. Who would have thought the guy from Vegas brings the rain?
Well, you know,
Tough.
that's how it works. Special guest here for this episode. This is this is going to be a fun one, OG.
Great.
This is going to be a fun one. The world record holder. He beat the Guinness Book of World Records. He holds the world record. Ready for this? For the most car sales. What is it, a month? A week? A day?
Yes.
All of them?
All of them.
Wow.
You hit it right on the head.
Wow.
Got a ringer.
We got the most car sales.
Yeah.
And what? It was Chevrolet.
Chevrolet and Cadillac.
Chevy and Cadillac.
Yep,
Chevrolet
yep,
and
yep,
Cadillac.
Yep.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about numbers here before, man, this is going to be great.
All right.
All right, let's talk about some numbers. What's the daily record?
Daily
And when you say world, you're talking about in Argentina and Italy and Spain and
everywhere, world.
okay. What's the number?
Daily record 32.
You sold 32 cars in a day?
Yeah, one day.
Okay,
Twice.
how long?
Was it Black Friday?
Twice. Wasn't Black Friday, but it was a late night. So that does count.
How many hours did you work?
Probably 12 hours.
That's 2 an hour.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah.
More than 2 an hour.
You got an assistant doing all the paperwork. You just slinging.
I have an assistant that does all the admin stuff, but I'm selling every single car. Yep. So I got to talk to every single person, and the admin takes care of the necessary paperwork. That.
And how long does each sale take you? I mean, you're going to have to close these,
Well,
meet them, close them, shop them within 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean it's a little more technical than that because I'm dealing with relationship type business only. So it's not the traditional transaction sale where it may take 2-3 hours.
Gotcha.
I got it down to maybe 15-20 minutes.
Wow.
But that's not the key. The 15-20 minutes is not the key. The 15-20 minutes, and then I'm back to back. I have 5 people at one time. So then I'm talking 20 minutes, and 5 minutes later, another delivery, 5 minutes later, another delivery. So if I'm dealing with 3, 4, 5 people at one time, it just kind of flows. And
I was in a Mercedes dealership, and I was waiting 5 minutes for the guy. Got pissed and walked out.
yeah, you would have walked out with a car.
Man, you're a beast.
Yeah.
We call those dogs.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
so
fun. It's a
132. Oh, hang on. How many in a day? 32.
Yep.
32 cars in a day.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm scared to ask what he did in a week.
What's the week?
I don't know if I have the week one.
What's the
I
month?
don't know. The month one is 209.
Holy cow.
209. I hit 200 twice. I hit 202 once, and then the following year, 209.
You're talking about almost
last
7
year.
cars a day.
Well, you got to back up a little bit because I only work 5 days a week. So I don't know. Some dealerships are open, 6 days. I'm there 5 days, closed weekends, a Saturday and Sunday. I'm at home. We're good. 5 days is good. I figure I can do it in 5 days. Why go 6?
All right. What's the year?
Yearly was 2017.
Okay.
2017.
That was the year that you broke that year.
Yeah,
record.
that's the year I was fortunate enough to break the world record, 44-year record set in 1973, ironically the year I was born. But, that was 1,582 was my record, and the previous record was 1,425.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was definitely a crazy, crazy blessed year.
So we didn't even give him a proper introduction. We just jumped right into
Let's
the numbers.
go.
Right in the meat.
The one, the only. Wow. 32 cars in a day. That's unbelievable. Are you from Dearborn?
Yeah.
From Dearborn, Michigan. Ali Reda. Nice to have you on board, brother.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me. It's
Oh,
an honor
thank
to
you
be
for
here.
being
Thank you,
well,
guys.
thank you.
Nope.
The honor is ours.
I appreciate it.
Man,
I can't get over 32 cars in a day.
I don't even know where to
That's
start.
a great month for a lot.
That's a
of
great. I'll put it in perspective. Hold on, I'll put it in perspective. So if you want,
Give us the averages.
Yeah, I'll give you the national average. The national average for all sales, not just Chevy or Cadillac, for all auto sales, is 12 units a month.
12
per
units a
month.
month. You tripled that in a day.
Now that's of recent. It was 10 for the longest time. So now they're just starting to say that it's 12 units per month on average for the whole month.
That's absolutely unbelievable.
Can't wrap my
No.
brain around it yet.
Okay, hang on. We got to.
There's a lot to dive into. Yeah, there's a lot to dive into here. Yeah.
Are these new cars or used cars or both?
So I do both, but mostly new. So
Those are new cars.
Yeah. So the year that I broke the record was 1,530 new cars, and 52 used.
Slinging cars.
Okay, Adi, what's your pitch?
So it's not a secret sauce, right? I get people from all over the country. Salespeople call me and say, "Hey, help me out. Hey, what can I do? What can I say?" And it's not so much of what you can do and what you can say. It's how you're doing it. It's why you're doing it. It's the intention behind what you're doing, and it's growth, right? I mean, every year over year, our mission is to grow. You guys,
sure.
Your mission is to grow. So, it's. If I had to sum it up in one word, I would say community is the key.
Relationships.
That's
Everybody
it.
knows you. How long you been doing this, Ali?
20 years. 20 years this year. June was my 20th year.
How many of those sales, percentage-wise, are relationship-driven?
100%.
Oh, they all are. They're not just walk-ins. People. Coming in.
So back in, I'd say 2010, I said no more transitional, no more transactional sales, no more walk-ins, no more pick up the phone and just cold calling. I felt like I was beyond that point. I felt like I put in my time. I did what I needed to do to build these relationships so that would last me a career. And, it was a scary thing to do at the beginning because you're like, this is what I'm taught. I'm taught to go out and go grab another customer, help them out, go on the lot, answer the phones, call people. And I said, you know what? It was taking up too much time, just like you said, 2-3 hours. It's taking a lot of time. So I said, my customer base, my community, my relationship people deserve more time from me. So when I started devoting my time towards the community and relationship people, then I didn't have to worry about the next person walking in. I didn't have to sit at my desk and say, when is that next person going to walk in? So I was actively active in the community, and things started to reciprocate. That was the turning point.
Wow. And so they do, and then after that, it's just, hey, he took care of us, great customer service.
Yeah.
And it stops becoming a sale. It's more of a transaction.
Right. It's a relationship type business. So if somebody comes in already trusting me, loving me, knowing that, I'm going to take care of them, then they're more likely to buy from you. They're more likely to do business with you. They're more likely to send their family to you. So it's somebody that doesn't know you now from the beginning. Let's face it, car salespeople don't have the greatest reputation.
Oh, that was my next line.
The stigma is there, right?
That was my
but
next
line. But it's slowly changing. It's
changing where?
Well, maybe not in Vegas, but welcome to Detroit. But we're changing it. We're changing it. One salesperson at a time, and we're gaining this other image. We're gaining, being active in communities, and people now, somebody walking in as a transaction, you have to sell them on liking you, loving you, trusting you, and then maybe you got a 10 to 20% chance they buy from you, right? A relationship type sale is they already trust you, they already love you, they already know you, somebody's already done business with you, they're referrals, somebody sent them to you. So now it flips. So now we're talking, you don't have to sell them on those things. All you have to do is figure out what they want. And all you have to figure out is solve that problem. So all I became is a problem solver. Somebody comes in with the problem. Okay, what's your problem? Here it is. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Here's my suggestion. And then because they love you, trust you, and know who you are, they're more likely to do business. Now you're talking 80 to 90% closing ratio.
Sure. Oh, gee, you just bought a brand new truck. Same guy you bought the other one from?
No.
Same company?
Guy. Yeah.
So why didn't you go to the same guy?
I don't think he was there anymore.
That's a problem. Right. That's a problem. So
High turnover.
As salespeople, high turnover.
We were chatting about this.
In dealerships, there's turnover, and that's why you get the stigma. That's why you get, it's a one night stand. It's a one and done. Like, I got one night with you, and I'm going to try to maximize the situation rather than thinking I have a lifetime with you. How do I build a relationship? How do I get you to love me just like you love your family? How do I love you back? And that's where you're going to get the reciprocation of a community. That's where you're going to get
Very
a
true.
son sending his mother to you blindly. That's where you're going to get a husband saying, go see Ali and don't worry about whatever happens.
Right.
Right? There's the trust. So once you build that trust, now you got to keep it. You have to understand, what you're doing and what you're getting into. But that's the difference.
But also, I picked up on something, in our conversation before we came on here. Two things instantly stood out when we were chatting. You sell Chevys and Cadillac. I have a Ram, right? And I've had a couple of them.
Yeah.
And two things we preach is like spend quality time with quality people, the right people. Yeah. And instantly you asked me, I said, Ram, I love the interiors. Like, yep, we don't even touch you guys. You can't touch the price for what you get. Yep. Right now, we don't even go after you guys. So that stands out, being efficient, but also being very direct and honest to cipher through.
Right.
Who's my customer?
Who's my customer? Right. Who is my client? Who is the person that I need to love and take care of forever? Right. So now, like your salesperson at the beginning, had he took that extra step or went that extra mile or did what you felt was over the top, you would have found him. Mm-hmm. Right. You would have found that person regardless of where he's at. So because that didn't happen, then there's something that was in that mix. It was a transactional sale. Again, it was a one-night stand. It was one and done, and he was done. But that was his mindset. That's his intentionality.
Right. Okay, so let me ask you this. Before I start jumping into the numbers so that I can have an upper hand next time I go buy a car. Why do car salespeople, I have my own perception, but why do you think car salesmen have the reputation or the stigma that they do around them?
It just started back in, I would say, the 70s, man. I don't think it's anything of the new era. The new era, we're now more professional.
Sure. Well, the consumer's more educated also.
The consumer's more educated. Well, I mean, here's the thing, though. If the national salesman was selling, 10 cars in the 70s, then in the 80s, we had internet and we had, all this other stuff going on. The national average then was 10. Then you had the 90s, you had trainers, you had sales training, you had everything else, and the national average was 10. So it was just a flawed system. Nobody actually took their time and said, hey, how do we grow this group? A dealer business plan is set up like this. If I'm a dealer and I want to sell 100 cars a month, right? I want to sell 100 cars a month, I say, okay, I'm going to hire 10 salespeople. And it didn't matter what those salespeople did because they were just a transactional employee to me.
Right.
So then they hired 10 salespeople. If they wanted to sell 200 cars, then they would hire 20. So nobody ever gave that salesperson the opportunity to grow within an organization.
But there was a lot of schemy ways, man, that they were doing it. Hey, let me just take $50 now. Let me go talk to my sales manager and I'll get back to you.
Transactional sale.
What is that, by the way? What is that?
Transactional means you don't know the person, they don't know you. It didn't matter. You're after one thing, they're after one thing.
What's the theory that you commit? Like when you give them $50 or $100, put that, what can you put down? $100. I'm buying a $50,000 car and I got to put down $50. Like, what is the theory behind that?
I never heard of 50. I never heard of
right,
50.
Like it's where you buy a car.
Yeah, I don't know about 50. But if
I'm
they
telling
say
you that.
But if they say, well, it's any kind of commitment.
I'm going to go back to my sales manager and talk to him.
Any kind of commitment, right. So the process is, every dealership has a different process. So you as a salesman have to get the information. You run over to your sales manager. You tell them what's going on. They come back. It's just a flawed system.
All right, we got so much to talk about. Hang on a second. Stop right there. Stop right there.
Let's go.
When they say, let me go talk to my sales manager, what do you guys do? Go drink coffee, play cards? Is there a real conversation that happens?
They're like, who's
let them
over
sweat
there?
it out.
Yeah, let them sit for a little bit. Let them relax. Is there a real conversation that happens?
Yeah. So
and then let me go back. I'm going to go back and fight for you. So like, man, this moron wants to pay. What do you want him to pay? Is that how it really goes?
Yeah. So they got to go back and get the pricing from the manager. Not a lot of salespeople could price out the vehicle themselves. There's different incentives, there's different programs, there's rebates, there's interest rates, there's a lot of stuff going on. So the sales manager has to break down everything and then say, go back, here's the price. Now, the sales manager's job is to maximize the deal, but at the same time, making sure the customer is taken care of. So the salesperson goes to the desk, to the manager and says, here's my customer, he wants this, Chevy Tahoe, his budget is, $600. How much down does he have? Oh, I forgot to ask. Oh, run back and ask how much. So they come back to you and say, how much you want to put down? You're like, zero. Well, can you put down?
So you're telling me that the end salesman, he doesn't have the skills or the insight or the capacity to be able to make a deal for the car, he really does have to go back to the sales
Yes.
manager who can factor in incentives, discounts, all of that.
90% of the process is done that way through the dealerships. That's a dealership process.
So that's an essential position for the sales manager to be able to quarterback these deals.
Right, and they need that because they're the person that's overseeing the dealership. They're overseeing
Gotcha.
the product. So when you get to the veteran salespeople, when you get to people that have been doing it as long as I have or earned the right and respect to run the numbers themselves, then you wouldn't go to see anybody else. When you come see me, there isn't a sales manager that you go see. I don't have to run to finance manager. I don't have to run to this person. I handle everything right there, A to Z. That's the difference. So that's what you get when you're buying a product from a veteran salesperson that you've been doing business with forever. I make 90% of the decisions that are happening right there. Now I have a bottom line, of course. And
Here's our highlight clip. Ready?
Sure.
You ready? This is the question that the whole world wants to know. How much room off the sticker price is there to negotiate?
It varies.
What's the rule of thumb?
Where am I comfortable going?
Look, this is good because different products have different margins, right? Everybody thinks that the dealership makes $5,000 a car or $8,000 a car or $10,000.
Sure.
It doesn't happen that way. So if you take, for instance, a Chevy Equinox,
Okay.
an average commission for the dealership, the entire dealership, after they sold the vehicle at, let's say, an employee deal, is probably about $1,500 total.
The dealership makes that.
Total, right?
But there's a volume.
That's what they're after.
Right.
They're after volume. So that's where everything comes to play. It's
Okay, so when they
pure
say,
volume.
I'm selling it to you under sticker, are they?
Potentially, yeah.
Oh, just so they can get the volume
They
deal.
get the volume deal, right? Now, there's other incentives through manufacturers. So the manufacturer will say, well, if your dealership A sells 200 cars this month, we are going to give you a retroactive $300 a car from the manufacturer. Nothing to do with the consumer. So then everybody chases this carrot, right? So sometimes you'll get, at the end of the month, you might get deals where, they'll just give you a car because they need to hit that number.
Hit him, OG.
It's real.
That
Hit
was
him,
my
OG.
next one.
That's real.
Myth or
Real.
What's
end
that?
of the month is when you go get a car. Last
Is
week.
that true?
It has been historically up of recent. It's been changing a little bit because of after COVID, a lot of things changed. So it's not necessarily true today, but yes, it was true for a long time where at the end of the month, my managers would actually come to me and say, hey, we need 15 more cars today. We need 15 more cars.
I would go
hence 30 cars in a day.
Is that what you do?
five or 6 days for the end of the month. Say they're like, oh, you're going to be at 450. Oh, I got to be at 415. Walk out. Phone rings.
They might get desperate, right? They might get desperate. I've done it where I've called somebody at 11 o'clock at night and said, hey, we got to get this deal. I need this car. I'm giving it to you.
But you're honest
at
about
cost.
it.
Yeah. I tell
You know
them,
what?
I need this
I'll
deal.
tell you
Right,
what.
Of course I'm honest about it.
If I heard that,
Yep.
that builds trust. Listen, man, I need to sell the car. I'm willing to meet you wherever, where you need to be.
We need to hit our
We need to hit our budget.
Right.
The problem is a lot, and that I don't want to say dishonesty, but that
But
deceptiveness.
sometimes it is. Right.
Okay. Well, I don't like to call anybody dishonest.
No,
but
of course not. But it's not being fully transparent.
it's deceptive.
Right. Just be transparent. Just tell somebody. And I've done it before where I literally would call somebody at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night and say, hey, we're 2 units away. Can I have you commit to this vehicle? This
See,
is what I need.
that lets me trust you.
Yeah.
When you say, listen, I've got X amount left. I've got to hit my goal.
Right.
What is it?
Here's what I'm willing to do. And they don't have to come in. I just need to report that car that night. And then tomorrow, the next day, they can come pick up the car.
I owned a
whatever
health
it is.
club,
So-
and one of our sales guys, as a last resort, used to have the picture of his family on the back of his clipboard. And when all else failed, he's like, listen, I got to feed these guys.
Yeah, but I would pull out my phone and I got to feed these. I got to feed these guys too. So we got to do something here. But
And he's the one grilling you about the sales tax.
yeah, I would be like, pull out my phone and be like, hold on a minute. It works both ways.
All right. So is there a percentage that the average consumer can go in and say, all right, sticker on this is 50 grand. Should be paying X amount.
It's usually, I would say, maybe a couple thousand off of that.
That's it?
Depends on the car. Again, depends on the car. If you're talking Range Rover, they have a little bit more room. They sell
they
a lot
do.
less cars. They sell a lot less products.
They have less room. So they can go with sticker, or they can go with asking price rather.
They can go with the asking price, but they have more room to adjust if they needed to. So their profit margin may be 5,000 instead of 1,500.
Gotcha.
Right? But they're selling 30, 40 cars a month, not 400.
Now, is that
there's a
rule
difference.
for new or used?
mostly new. So used cars, of course,
That's where the money is.
Market dictates that. So market's going to dictate the used cars. Right now, as we know, in today's day, the used car market's through the roof. I mean, pricing is just outrageous. We're overpaying
Today.
for everything today.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But there's a shortage, right?
Absolutely.
There's a shortage. So supply and demand plays a big role in it. So
You're absolutely right.
Today, we're paying ridiculous amount of money, but profit margin, again, dealerships are not looking to make 5, 8, 10,000 per car. They're looking for units. You're looking for quantity. Looking for.
But for used, does units matter?
Well, eventually it does, yeah. I mean, the manufacturer doesn't necessarily give you anything except if it's on like a certified used, they want you to hit a certain amount of cars, right? So they expect you to hit a certain level. So you have to maintain that. But there are times that that would happen. I mean, average, dealership could be a couple thousand, 2,000, 3,000 a copy.
So what's the pep talk they give you, like when they see somebody walk and they see Dustin walk in the parking lot?
They're like,
oh,
I got this.
I'm fresh meat. Radio say I'm an early adapter.
Yeah, no, they'll be like, oh, that looks good. I'm gonna let you handle this one. That's what the veteran tells me. I'm gonna let you handle this one. Go ahead. You got
go on, get it.
No, it's been so long that I actually go out and greet a customer and I don't even know what I would say anymore. I'm so into my own client base. I would feel awkward almost at these, now. But
it's very uncomfortable, isn't it? Like the first thing, here's my card. It's like it's not a real.
Look, we were talking about it in any type of sales. Any type of sales. You wake up in the morning and you say, I'm going in to face rejection. Every single day you got to wake up in sales and you're saying, I know I'm going in to face rejection. How do you handle that? How do you face objections? How do you face rejections? How do you overcome it? So when you go out on a lot and you talk to a customer and you're like, hey, how you doing? I'm Ali. Welcome to Let's Stanford. And they're like, I'm just looking. I don't want anything to do with it, right? That's a rejection. You're just like, man, I'm just trying to greet you.
Right. They already are loaded for their defense.
They're already loaded. Yeah. They're just like, but now with, things are changing. Internet, we got a lot more professionals in our industry. We got a lot of people, talking about the things that we're doing for our communities. I mean, things are changing, man. You guys in a couple of years are going to see a little bit of a change with car salespeople. Dealerships are actually getting hip to it too.
Okay. So there's this website that's out there now where you can buy your car without even, it delivers it to home or anything like that.
Yeah.
So that totally takes the element of the salesperson out.
Right.
Can you see the car sales industry going that way?
No, they've been talking about that for decades. They're talking about it for decades. I mean, do you want to buy a car at a vending machine? I mean, do you want to buy anything? I mean, even when you go buy clothes, you still have that I want to go in there and feel it. I want to go in there and touch it. I want to feel good.
You are so right. The
relationship's
so important.
Somebody, look, you cannot ever underestimate the power of human touch in anything that we're doing, right? Anything. I mean, if I want to go talk to my financial advisor, I like going to sit in front of them. Right. Like I want to see what's going on. I want to hear this. So we still have that. It's just slowly changing to a lot of people dealing with people they know. There's not as many transactional sales, I feel, as there used to be.
It's a lot more.
Everybody has a person, right? So you think of anything that you buy, you have a person.
No, you're right.
Right.
You're right. That was exactly what I was about to ask you.
Right.
Were you looking for your guy?
And if I don't, I just call Wafa.
Yeah,
and then you find out who's your person.
Wafa sends me her person. I got sniped the time before when I went in to get a lease. I went in there for a different sales guy that I'd talked to on the phone, and someone else sniped me.
Oh, yeah. What do you guys call that in the industry? When someone comes in for you and then another guy takes him.
Oh God, I drew a blank. Oh my God, it doesn't happen to me.
Cutthroat.
Yeah.
It is a cutthroat, and then. I went to college with a guy.
It's called a skate.
A skate?
Yeah.
Oh, he skated me?
He skated me, yeah. That's what it's called, I know.
I went to college with a guy, and his dad owned 2 dealerships in Southern Ohio. And, we would chat over the phone, and he would tell me, he's like, I stand by the door, because you got to be the first one when they come on, when they get on the lot.
Isn't it on a system of whoever is next up? Or
different processes. Different dealers, different processes. Sometimes they're just like whoever gets them.
Okay, here we go. Ready? Now we're going to get to the nitty-gritty.
Rotations.
The introduction's over.
Okay, good.
How hostile does it get amongst the sales guys?
It could. I mean, I can imagine. There's sometimes if somebody skated somebody, they're running to the manager. Hey, he took my customer. Hey, but we have different processes in place. If you put your customer in your CRM. Right, and that person's in there, and they came to see you, and somebody else did something. Then you have a little bit of a leg to stand on.
So, what do you have? Like a week, 2 weeks, a month? They're yours?
Not really. I mean, I get sometimes even at my place right now. They'll deal with somebody. They won't like what happened. They'll leave, and then somebody will tell them, "Hey, go see Ali," and then they come back to me, and then I got to kind of break down the whole deal, but I actually give it to the original salesperson.
Gotcha.
Beyond that point where, I have to worry about that, but I'll help them out. I don't like,
Ali,
I
you
love
can
my
tell us,
coworkers.
Are there ever any fights?
No.
Come on, man. No way.
Well, there was this one time. No. But that was so long ago.
Yeah.
No, but it could be just like any other place, but for the most part, man, everybody's loving, caring. Everybody has one goal. We all have one mission. We work under one roof. We spend more time with them than our families. I'm sure you guys are in the same position, right? So, for the most part, at my dealership, at least, we do get along, man. We have a great family, great culture. Culture is very important in dealerships,
especially in sales.
Of course, it's everything.
Culture is important. So if you have somebody
sports
that's continuing to act up and continue to cause issues, man, you just got to cut that out, right? You just got to say, hey, you just don't fit here. You don't fit the culture of this dealership, and you got to cut them out.
And we were chatting about this earlier. Obviously we're in direct sales. You're in direct sales. Why do you think there's such a high turnover? We kind of got in this a little bit earlier in sales in general.
Man, I'll tell you what I feel. It's salespeople across the board are always looking for instant gratification. Man, they're always looking for, Ali's doing it. I can go to that dealership and do the same thing, right? They don't see Ali 20 years ago struggling.
How many years did it take you to get to 2017?
Yeah, they don't see 15 years ago struggling, right? They don't see that part. So the only thing they see is today. So we want, as salespeople, everybody wants that instant gratification that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen for anybody. You're not going to go in there and just instantly hit it off. I mean, there's things that got to be in place. There's time, there's blood, there's sweat, there's tears. There is no substitution for work. I mean, you got to put in the time. You got to put in the work. And most people fail prematurely. They give up way before they actually develop. And then they bounce around. That guy went to another dealership for a reason, right? He felt, oh, this dealership's no good. The dealership across the street's a little better. Let me go there. Goes there, same thing's going to happen. He sells a couple cars and he leaves there. It's bad. Nobody gives it enough time to develop. They don't give their career enough time to develop.
That's what it is.
And you treat it like a job. It's a job.
So treat
it like a career.
Do the majority of the systems and the structures, and you had said that it's just different amongst dealerships, but are car salesmen 100% commission?
There are different processes for the most part. I personally am. Yeah, so there's a lot of 100%.
And you'd rather it that way?
We talked about it earlier. What did I say? I would never go to hourly wage.
Wow.
I just couldn't do it at this point. I don't care if it's $300 an hour. I just couldn't do it.
So you could work 12 hours a day and make nothing? Yeah. I mean, not you.
Yeah. Technically, yes. Oh, I have in the past. Oh, yeah. It's very discouraging. It's very tough to go home and you're
zero. We call them donuts.
Yeah, man. You go home and your significant other tells you, hey, what'd you do today?
How much money did you make today?
Nothing. You spent 12 hours at the dealership. You made nothing.
Wow.
But the next day is rewarding, or the next week is rewarding. But it's very difficult. Again, we're facing rejection, instant gratification. Those are the type of things that make you fail. If you give it time to develop. If I gave up because I didn't sell a car for a whole week, and back in 2003, where would I be today?
Sure. No, I get it. I respect that.
So salespeople got to stick to it. If you find a home that you love, it's OSP. I love this place, right? I want to work here. I know what I want. The first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it's horrible. The first month, it's horrible. Next thing you know, man, things are starting to develop. You got to give things time to develop. You're not going to walk in and get instant gratification of anything.
Okay. So do car salesmen have a flat commission per sale, or is it a percentage of the sale?
So again, it could be different for different dealerships. There is a minimum amount that you would make. Some dealerships, it's $100.
Per
you
car?
sell a car, you could make $100
for 2 hours. You sit there, sell it for a transactional one your
Sometimes it's
term.
that case. If the dealership loses money, which happens, if they lose money on a car, then you just make $100. And most of the time it's a percentage.
It's a percentage of the sale.
Yep, percentage
of the profit.
Of the profit. Only of the
so
profit.
they'll tell you the sticker price or the dealership price is X. You sell it for X.
Whatever the profit is. Yeah. So let's say it's an Equinox and it's $1,500. Then your commission is the profit of that. You get a portion of that.
Okay, hang on. Let me go back here.
Okay.
What's the average commission a salesperson makes per car?
I think nationally right now it's around $300.
It's not huge.
You would think it would be more.
No.
I always thought it was more. You see, these are questions that I've never.
car.
Yeah. So off of a $70,000 car, you make $300.
Again, we're talking average. So $70,000 car, you might make $600-700.
I gotcha. Okay.
A $20,000 car or $10,000 car, you might make $200 or $300.
Sure.
So
That makes
it depends.
sense.
It's an average. when you start becoming better and more into relationship type business and more into volume, that average goes up, because then you're talking, you get bonuses throughout, and you get, it's like anything else, but the average, I think throughout the country might be 250 or 300.
Let me ask you a loaded question. You broke, from what we know, 3 records: daily, monthly, annually, yearly.
Yep.
Were you driven by money?
Never. And people ask that all the time. Now, did I get into the industry because of money? Sure. Everybody did. I had to support a family,
Of course.
So did I do it to build a career and have financially be stable? Yes. But the record, later on in your career, that doesn't come in, it's not as important anymore. I found out early that volume was what I was after. And with volume, the money just came. The manufacturer looks for volume. The dealership looks for volume. So I said, you know what? Why am I not looking for volume?
Sure.
Why am I trying to make a home run on one deal when I can have 5 great deals? And those 5 people can send me 5 more people, and those 5 can send me 10 more people, and then build the volume from there. And then financially, it just came. But if I was driven by the money first, I would have had a lot of one-night stands.
Right.
I wouldn't have had any relationship, because there's times that I will lose money to have a deal, to have earn a customer for whatever reason it is. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I wanted that customer. Maybe, somebody else was selling it cheaper and they came to me. But whatever reason it happens.
What's your count on your database? Your customer count?
Oh my God, man. I can't even, I stopped looking at any of my CRMs, and it's just a steady flow of people. I get so many people coming throughout the day. It's crazy.
There was a little bit of controversy when you broke the record. Yeah. I don't know if you know this, but the previous record holder is on the other side of the city.
Oh, he's here in Detroit too?
In Detroit, yeah.
What?
Wait, it gets better. Selling Chevys.
Are you kidding me?
The storyline couldn't have been any better. First thing.
And you were born the same year that he...
I was born the same year he hit the record, right? I was born in 73. He says his record in 73. I read his book. I followed him. He was a huge figure in our industry.
Does he hate you?
Well, he did for a while. So basically what happened, and right before 2017, I had contacted him. Let me back up. I didn't chase the record. In 2015, I sold 1,300. In 2016, I sold 1,380. In 2017, I just kept creeping up. So around June of 2017, I had a stellar first 6 months. And I says, wow, if I continue this pace, I have a chance. Not till June did I ever think about it and say that, because you can't go into January and say, this is the year. It's sales. You cannot predict the market. You can't predict a lot of things that happen. But, you have inventory issues. You have bank issues. There's too many variables to be able to dictate it in January.
Sure.
But I had a record break in January in 17, then February, March, April, all the way to June. And I'm like, wow, at this pace, I got a great shot of potentially hitting this record. So around October, I was like, you know what? I'm going to hit it. I'm only 100 and some away. I'm going to hit it. Let me reach out to him. So I called the person that had the record, and I got his number, Detroit guy. And his career went into training. So everything he was doing was into training afterwards. So he hung his hat on this training. He wrote books and everything. So I reached out to him. I never said, hey, I'm going to beat your record. Call me.
Right.
I never said anything. I'm just saying, hey, I'm a huge fan. I got your number from Bob Moore, who's a huge figure in our industry, a mutual friend, and never called me back. November, I beat the record. I had it beat in November. Called him again, same thing. Hey, I would really love to meet you. I'd like to chat with you. I want to share some things with you. Never called me.
Wow.
Beat the record December, gone. Right around the end of January, we put out a press release. Dealership put out a press release, newspapers, news, everything. We had everybody on the story,
was
right?
tight.
We're like, man, we're getting this out there, right?
Yeah.
Can't believe it.
Auto show was probably coming up.
Auto show. I mean, there was so many things going on. And GM, of course, was the one that, had the numbers, right? So we put out this press release, and then bam, here he comes. He surfaced. Fake news. I'm suing you guys.
Ooh.
He tells the newspaper. So now the newspaper loves it. Newspaper's like, what? Tell us more. We're like, oh. He's like, I'm going down there Monday morning. And I'm going to sue them, and they're lying and they're cheating. And they're like, whoa, that was a slap in the face, because I expected a
Congratulations.
whole different thing. I thought, man, I'm going to work with this guy. I'm going to meet this guy. I'm going to, do some things with him. I'm going to write a book with him. I'm like, my mind was going.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, man, what a beautiful storyline. Detroit, the same year, all this stuff.
Same GM, everything.
Chevrolet, both of us in Detroit. Now, the whole storyline was played out in my head. And then it was like a shot in the gut. He was like, oh my God, I was deflated. So then, you know, they came out and you know, long story short, the guy sues me. He sues the dealership. He sues the Guinness Book of World Record. I'll tell you, he sues the Guinness World Records. He sues the newspaper. He sued all the local newspapers. He sued the TV. He sued GM. He sued the dealership.
Oh, he's got time on his hands.
He was 91. He was 91 at the time. So he sues everybody, says it was we're all in cahoots together, you know, just to beat the record. And we're like, what would be benefit to the newspaper? So anyway, long story short, he came in. We let him do an audit. They came in. They did an audit of every single deal. We had, I mean, I have pictures of boxes and deals. So you're talking 1,580 deals. So that, obviously everything was kosher. All of it's electronic. GM pays me per unit.
Right.
So, you know, they have the data. But you know, then obviously he dropped the lawsuit. He's like, okay, I'll drop my lawsuit if you guys drop yours. And he goes, once I find out the truth.
You countersued him.
I countersued him initially to protect myself.
Sure.
So he's like, you know, once I find out the truth, I'm going to come in and shake your hand. I'm like, great, man, this guy's coming in and shake my hand. So finally I thought I was going to get to meet him. A couple months go by, nothing. Dropped his lawsuit, and then unfortunately he passed away.
Oh, that's how it ended?
That's how it ended.
Oh, that's tragic.
Horrible.
I thought it was going to be a great storyline ending.
That was the ending.
They wrote a book together. They do seminars.
Yeah.
Yeah. I you know, pictures of us, him and I running through the field, running through
selling
cars,
the car together,
hitting the lock button on cars, you know, hitting the lock button in the parking lot. You know, I thought, hey, this could be good.
Oh, that's terrible.
None of it, man. I was so upset. But
those people can be prideful.
But it was
competitive people.
Look, I understood his position, and I had said it, and I said it in the news, and I said it, you know, on TV stations, and I said I understand his position. Here comes a guy 44 years later and says, I broke your record. I get it. You're going to doubt it a little bit.
Right.
But he should have just came in. He should have just said, okay, let me go see it for myself. Let me go see it. You walk into my office, you know there's some action. You know, there's 20 people waiting. There's action everywhere. I mean, there's a lot of fuss. He never actually did that. So, you know, had he done that, I think it would have changed his mind a little bit. He just, you know, but he was just older. You know.
Yeah, it happened.
That was too bad. Yeah.
Oh, wow. All right, before we wrap this up, what is the tip for all of our salespeople out there? What is the number one tip, Ali Reda, the number one car salesman in the world?
Look, there's, again, we talked about no secret sauce. There's no substitution for work. And it doesn't matter what you're selling. It doesn't matter what you're providing. It doesn't matter the product. That's a byproduct of what you're doing. If your heart is in it, your soul's in it, your intentions are right, and it's coming from the right place. It's coming from your heart. The tip would be believe in your process, believe in yourself, believe in what you're doing, why you're doing it, what's your intentionality. And the rest of it, man, is not work anymore. When you believe in those things, when you believe that you can achieve certain things. When somebody told me, man, nobody's going to beat this record 44, at that time, I believed it. I believed it was possible. Once you start believing something is possible, then it becomes doable.
Now switching gears are coming from a little bit different of an angle now that, you know, you've conquered sales and it seems like you're in more of a, you know, sales manager hiring role. What's the one thing you look for in a salesperson throughout the interview process? Man,
so I'll go one step further. So a couple years ago, I went to the owners of the dealership and I said, I want to hire a salesperson. I want to hire somebody to work under me. And they're like, you want to do what? You don't have time for that. You're not going to be able to babysit somebody. And I said, no, I feel like I can take what I've done this last 15 years, 18 years, and I think I can put that into perspective with somebody else and have them grow at a more rapid pace doing what I've done. Community building, giving back, getting your name out there, building your brand. And, you know, they thought I was crazy, but they're like, okay, if you want to do it, go right ahead. So, you know, it took me a couple years to find this person. And I had an image in my head. I was looking for somebody that spoke Spanish because we have a huge Spanish marketing area. So it didn't have to be, but that's what I was looking for. And I didn't put out an ad. I didn't say, you know, I'm going to go out there and talk to as many people as I can. I had this image in my head, and I kept it in the back of my head until I met the right person. And I was looking for somebody with the qualities, of course, of hard work. And I looked at for somebody that was personable. You know, I didn't care if they knew about cars. You don't have to know about cars. You have to know about people. And I wanted to know that they cared. I wanted to know they wanted a career. And I finally met the right person, right? So I met the right person a couple years ago. He's been with me for 2 years now. So we talked about the national average of 12 in our industry. You sell 12, you're at your 10 to 12, your average. 30 in our industry is elite. If you sell
Per week.
30 cars a month,
A month.
30 cars a month in our industry, that's considered elite. Like you can literally hop on a plane, get off, and have a job in minutes, anywhere you want to go. So I took him from never selling a car before. He actually owned a pool company, but he was active in his community.
Yeah.
That's what I was looking for. He was running a soccer league. He was doing other things that I felt were good qualities for a person that I can grow with.
Sure.
And, you know, I offered him the position, and him and I, you know, worked it out. And he was a little skeptical at first, but I told him, hey, listen, I'm not going to let you fail. Right? I said, I got you on this. And now he's averaging 50.
Wow.
He's averaging
he's still
50.
there.
Yeah, he's there. He's there. Now he's averaging 50. People don't go the whole career selling 50. 30 is elite. So now I took a guy 2 years in, took me 20, and he's doing 50 units a month. 100% relationship based only. No transactional sales. So when he came on, I told the dealership, I'm like, listen, he's not going to take a phone up. He's not going to take an internet lead. He's not going to take any of your customers. No driven opportunities from you. I'm going to self-generate everything that he gets. And we did that. We hit the streets.
Impressive.
We went out. We got him involved in the community. We got him in the parades. We got him at restaurants. We got his name out there. We marketed. And it was for the right reasons.
Right.
It was for him to go out and say, hey, I'm going to be your protector. I'm going to be the person that protects you from any of the nonsense that could happen.
Right.
Right?
And
we
listen,
sent that message.
yeah, and the industry, you could benefit from the industry having that kind of a stereotype.
Right. Of course. Yeah, we said we are going to protect you. If you don't come to us, you're unprotected.
Yep.
Right? So then he became the protector of his own community. And that's where things started changing.
Protector of the community.
Yeah,
Like
and
a
we put him on. We
superhero.
put him on radio. I put him on newspapers. I put him out there saying, "Hey, we're going to educate the consumer.
That's it. Build
Come
the
in,
value.
come in. We're going to build the value in us." And all of a sudden now he's doing 50.
Brilliant.
You know, so
Wow.
so that's what I'm looking for. So the future of Ali Reda is to kind of maybe build a team and scale back a little bit from doing what I'm doing. I mean, you know, I can only do it for so long. I'm
Right.
fine now, but if I'm looking at the future and I'm looking at growth and I'm looking at, you know, how do I sustain this?
Sustain
you know,
it and scale it. Sure.
and scale it, right? It's got to be scalable, and that's where the future comes in, and that's where, you know, building this team, I think, is going to be the next step.
Good for
Great
you.
answer.
Wow.
Well, if you're a
I'll tell
viewer
you
out
what.
there and you're looking for a car,
That's right.
Ali at Les Sanford, Michigan Avenue, Dearborn.
Always welcome.
Dean told me, I said, man, I need a guest. And he goes, oh, I got to go. And he named some of these schleps. And I said, man, I don't want those. Those are bums. And then he goes, I got a car salesman. I said, bro, I'm not trying to have a car salesman on the show. He's like, no. This one's different.
Oh my God.
He goes, this one's different. And as soon as he told me, he goes, he set the record for the most cars. I said, what? And then I started doing a little bit of research. It's phenomenal.
Yeah,
it's phenomenal. No, you are in an elite class.
It's a blessing.
Yeah.
It's a
Good
blessing.
for you.
Yeah, and
Congratulations.
thank you.
No,
It's
that's phenomenal.
community. It's community that builds it. You know, I didn't sell any of those cars. Community sold them all.
Good for
That's
you.
what's key. So we're definitely blessed to be in that position.
Good for you. Ali Reda. What do you think,
Thank you.
OG?
Beast.
That's it.
Beast.
You sure you want to stay in car sales?
I'm good right now. I'm good. It's my heart, my passion.
There it is. That's wrapping up the episode. The legendary Ali Reda. What an informative session, man. That's what it's all about.
That was great.
Yeah. Lots of great information there. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate being
We've had
here.
professional athletes on here, professional trainers,
This was a good one.
doctors.
Yeah.
First Guinness Book of World Record holder.
I love it.
You're right. You're right. Thank you.
Blessed. Thank
Appreciate
you,
you
guys.
having me on.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Hopefully have you
Thank
on
you.
soon.
Oh, I'd love to be back.
Awesome. Signing out. My team, my family, my OSB. We're out.